Hey everybody, welcome to Spring 2023. I wanted to give you an overview of some of the resources that you have access to as you lead your courses this spring session. So I want to remind you that I am here as your program coordinator, also lead faculty, and I coordinate the courses in the program for the Early Childhood Studies. So first of all, thank you for teaching this session. I'm very excited to have you back. And some of you leading new courses, so I appreciate your support in our program. I'm here to support you along the way, so if you have anything related to courses, students, professional or personal, please reach out to me. I want to make sure that you have a smooth start to the session. I want to be able to support you along the way. And so sometimes it's easier just to reach out and ask your questions, and we can support each other as you work this session with our students. I wanted to go over some of the roles and responsibilities as the lead instructor for the course that you're teaching. Also give you some tips and tricks in regards to Canvas, and then information about how to get in touch with me for the duration of the course. So as lead instructor, you obviously have a pre-created course for you in Canvas, which is fabulous, but I do not want you to shy away from making yourself viewable in the course. And one of the ways that you might do that is to facilitate the modules by creating overview videos with your voice and picture to talk to students about what they should be expecting that week ahead. And sometimes it's great to see you help make connections to what the content they're reading and how it connects to the assignments that they're going to be creating for that week. Sometimes those videos are pre-created, but if you'd like to have your voice noticed and get some opportunity to see students to see you in the course, I want to encourage you to create those videos at the start of the modules. You also want to make sure that you're providing opportunities for doing announcements and things like that. So I guess I skipped over here and talking about teaching first. But weekly announcements is another way that we would expect lead instructors to engage with the students in the course. So posting your weekly announcements to the entire group, and really supporting students with recognizing how important the content is and how it relates to their real lives. Obviously, our students are in applied programs, so oftentimes the work that they're doing is directly related to their work. But I do want to emphasize that we do want to hear your voice and your perspective in the courses that you teach. As far as facilitating, you're obviously facilitating teams of instructors. So we do want to encourage you to meet weekly with your instructional teams. Sometimes that can be challenging if you have large teams or folks that work during the school day and then only have a limited amount of time in the evenings or afternoons. But at least try to meet at the beginning of the session or of the course to kind of get yourself situated and introduced to each other. And then some ways that you might engage in conversation with your teams is via like a Google Doc and posting, resources and information about the expectations for assignments so that you can all be on the same page as you're providing feedback to students. Another way that I do that is I provide a document that I give some examples about the types of feedback I'm giving to students on the assignments for that week, but with the caveat that, of course, our other instructors are making sure to personalize that feedback directly to that particular assignment. But that is one way that we kind of level the playing field as far as like what types of feedback, and we're focusing on the content that the students are providing us in the assignments. So we want to make sure that we're providing prompt and useful feedback to our co-instructors as well as the students in our courses, so supporting them throughout the process. And then for support, you are absolutely, supporting your co-instructors with students or any student issues in the course. My recommendation is also kind of lead with letting your co-instructors know that they are in charge of their groups and that you respect their opinions and things, and that you will defer to them. So sometimes when you have 2 or 3 co-instructors in a group, sometimes students will reach out to the lead instructor, and I always recommend that you loop the co-instructors back into conversations so that you all are on the same page when you're communicating with students. if anything comes up with as far as instructors or student issues, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I can certainly support, and we can problem solve together around those types of things. But I think most importantly, at least in my experience, is that we as co-instructors really work hard at being on the same page and really form a united front for our students in the courses that we teach. So if a student is reaching out to me out of somebody else's group, I will always loop the co-instructor back into the conversation so that we can be supporting each other that way. Okay, so you have some resources here as far as facilitating meetings and things like that. I've given you links here to the Lead Instructor Google site, and I would encourage you to check that out. Lots of really great resources here for you. Preparing to lead, leading the course, other resources and things like that. So I would check out that resource, and I put it in the email as well for you to review. We also have online resources for the co-instructors in the courses. I also linked in here the lead online resource instructor folder, where some materials and things that we have utilized in the past, we've linked that here. So we have some examples of citations from the course, some questions that students might have, incomplete request, grading comments template, so an example of how we communicate via Google Docs about the types of comments we're providing to students so that we can all kind of get on the same page. So Canvas support. If you're using Coaching Companion in your courses, here are some things that might be useful for you. Some resources that I use as far as when I communicate with you all. This presentation is in there as well. Some information about student volunteer work expectations for the Early Childhood Studies Online that might be useful, and an example of instructor meeting notes or a Google Doc that you might keep as you're communicating with your groups. So those resources are all provided there for you in the instructor folder. I've given you some information about incompletes. When you do your course kickoff meeting, we want to talk about big course ideas. We want to be clear about grading timelines and goals for the group. We as faculty have 5 days from the due date and time of the assignments to provide feedback and submit those back to our students. And so just to recognize that a lot of our faculty are working other jobs full-time, and so we do want to provide the 5 days if necessary. But if your team can come to an agreement about an earlier time frame, by all means do that, but it's also just as to recognize that we do have 5 days. We want to be useful and prompt in our feedback to students, and we want to provide some student feedback on their assignment. And then the recommendation too is really, this also offers you an opportunity and your co-instructors to build a voice within the course by providing group-specific feedback and communication at the end of the grading period. So as you unmute your grades to your groups, then co-instructors would send out emails and communication to their student groups about sort of in general, here are some things I noticed about this week's assignments, here are some strengths, and here are some opportunities for growth. So that's also a way we want our co-instructors to have a voice within our courses as well. Here's some, any ideas or content that needs to share with all students in the course. We recommend that you do a course overview video if you so choose. You don't have to. Whole class announcements. Really thinking about how you make an asynchronous course feel personal to students. Some of the things that I might do that is if I notice that, everybody's in Yellow Dig or is doing really great on a particular assignment, I might go into Canvas and do message who in the Canvas gradebook, and that'll get all of your students that perhaps got a B or a better that week on an assignment, and I'll send them a, hey, that was great. I see that you're working hard in this course, and things like that. So those are all good ways. The other thing I've done too is we use Yellow Dig in a few of the courses that I teach. So if we have a leaderboard, I'll put that out in an announcement, look at these students that are participating in Yellow Dig, or something like that. So thinking about not only about providing feedback on assignments, what are other ways that you might provide shout outs to students. If there's like edits to rubrics or edits to like clarify assignment expectations, we definitely want to seek your input as you're teaching the course to include that in your notes page in the Canvas course. That's really useful as we think about how to always continually improve the course. So things like, if you have a lot of questions around a certain assignment or a topic, or you have ideas about adding to the course, we certainly want to hear those as well. When possible, stay one step ahead of your students. So make sure you're checking modules ahead of time. If there's any links that are missing or any issues that are sort of getting in the way, then just that you're ahead of your students and making sure that you've checked that out. I also want to encourage leads to grade and provide feedbacks to students so that other team members can follow your lead. And like I said, one of the ways that I do that is creating a Google Doc and keeping documentation of the types of feedback I'm providing students on a particular assignment. And I share that back out with my team with the caveat, of course, that it needs to be personalized to their students and their assignments. We ask that you are available to your team via email, phone, text, or Zoom. And we want to make decisions about ASRs as a team, how often, why, and how you're going to do that. I generally do ASRs after the first lesson, so students that are inactive after lesson 1, after lesson 3, and then after lesson 5. That's kind of the pattern that I've followed, but those are decisions that you'll make as a team or as a lead about how to deal with that. And then I also have some context and information here for you for plagiarism. And if anything comes up that you have questions about, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Okay, so Canvas. In Canvas, want to think about the settings you have as far as notifications that you're getting emails about. So emails about submitted assignments, emails about students that are posting questions in Canvas, so that you're being notified when students are interacting with you there. I always make sure to subscribe to the virtual office so that I know, or I get an email notification when the students are posting in the virtual office. So if you go into Canvas and click on the virtual office, there is a green subscribe button. Make sure you click on that, and that'll make sure that you get notified when students post in there. And then get notification when students are commenting on assignments. That's really useful and helpful. So that you can stay abreast of any communication that your students are interacting with you, so whether that's email or on assignments. So I make sure to post announcements weekly. I post a whole group, so to everybody, a weekly about kind of an overview of the lesson that week. And then my co-instructors will post in the announcement for their particular sections. The announcements will also allow you to link to particular course content. So if you want to bring their attention to a particular area, you can do that in the announcements. I apologize for my puppies. Okay, and then in the Grade Center, I usually set my grades to manually post so that everything stays hidden until we've all completed grading. That way all of our students are getting the grading feedback at the same time. You can provide video feedback in the assignments as well. And then when you are viewing different sections at the top of the screen in Canvas, you can set that up. You can also provide feedback to using video in Canvas. That's an option. And then in the Grading Center, you can message students who are, if you want to highlight students that are doing particularly well in the course, or students that may be struggling a little bit, to reach out for additional support. So those are things that kind of can help you and support you in the Canvas Center. So anyway, thank you for teaching in the Early Childhood Studies Online. I am available via email or phone. You can always text me, email me. We can find a time to look over the course, or sending any, going over the Canvas or anything, any questions you might have around that. Also, if you have questions related to the program itself or any expectations that we have of students, I am available to support you. Welcome to Spring 2023. Thank you for teaching. I look forward to a great session.